Hey, what's up, Jets fans? What is up? This is Jets Chaos. I'm Jeremy. I bring the chaos, and tonight it is the Wacky Wednesday show with Y2K99 and me, and a special guest who I'll announce later, right after this.
Don't not be Thibodeau. And here it comes. It's about to come in. Oh my God! They didn't. They took Sauce Gardner. Oh my God! They don't want an edge. Maybe he likes Jermaine Johnson at 10. Then we're not going to get a wide receiver.
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Oh my God! No edge. The Jets traded up. The Jets traded up. Are we taking JJ? Are we taking JJ? Because I know Braden is in New Zealand saying, we should get Lily, Mike. He's definitely saying that. JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great! Yes! They took Roger McCreary, they didn't take Dean, and we traded up. We can get the Kobe Dean. We can get the Kobe Dean. It really is. They took Breece Hall. They took Breece Hall. Wow. I mean, look, I love Breece Hall. But there's also Jeremy Ruckert, who I think is the best tight end in the class personally. They took Jeremy Ruckert. He took Jeremy Ruckert. Yes. We got a Jeremy. We got a Jeremy. Oh, and the Jets pick, and it's Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. We needed that. That's wow. We took Michael Clemens. I never heard of him. A defensive edge.
Boy, I hope Michael Clemens never sees that promo, because I'd be afraid to look him in the eye when he says, "What do you mean you never heard of me?" But anyway, what's up, Jets Mess? Kelly Wilson, Sean McAteer, my brother, what's going on? New York Sports Wicker Media, a.k.a. Y2K99, who's I'm going to bring on in a second. Johnny G, what's going on? Good to see you. We also got our special guest waiting, so we're going to get to that pretty fast. Let me start with bringing on my esteemed co-host. He is he's not a pain because he has a big brain, and he's certainly not insane. Well, maybe he is, because with all the pizza he ate with me, some weight he might gain. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my co-host, Y2K99.
Unlike you, I was excited about the Sauce Gardner pick. How dare they take this quarterback? It is so beneath us to draft a quarterback. How dare we? Oh my gosh, the disdain in your voice for that pick. Oh my goodness. It's never really sunk in with me until just now. Maybe it's because I watched Flight and I see the excitement from the Jets, but I see the disdain from Jeremy and from many other Jets content providers. But now you are all seeing the beauty of the sauce.
You know what?
How you doing?
I saw it the moment we traded up and got JJ. There was everything came together, and it was like there was never a doubt. I was the happiest guy alive because it made everything make sense.
Absolutely, all the pieces were right there. JD had him in front of him. We couldn't see all the pieces at the moment, but he knew what the pieces were to the puzzle, and he assembled them together in one magical, beautiful night.
Okay, so that brings us to our special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is choice because Luscious Lady knows he got that sexy voice. This man is fine. He's super divine. He's one of a kind. From Weapons Hot, Kevin Spotty. He's too hotty. What is up?
What's up, Scott? How you doing?
Tonight is a good night. Y2K, my man. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Guys, listen, it's I don't know, it's kind of a weird time of the year, right? But we still got some fun stuff to talk about. I'm here. I'm thankful to be here, mind you. Yeah, it's been a crazy time, man. It's been a crazy time.
It's the absolute slowest month of the year if you're an NFL fan.
Absolutely.
From what I understand, training camp begins July 26th. That's the most recent date that I've heard. So that gives us about a month where we're just going to be basically digging for storylines.
Yeah, beating our heads against the wall, trying to stay away from some of the ridiculous takes that we're going to hear because there really isn't anything much to talk about, right?
Except Mekhi Becton's weight. Always a fun topic.
Yeah, that was we did almost a whole show based on that the other day.
We need to get his nutritionist on. That's our next
Man,
guest.
look, yeah.
We had other people join us, by the way, since all this started. Julio Vargas, what's up? Thanks for being here. Ab Lab Studios, Mark Reese, Dom C. Wow, it's amazing how many people joined us. Dakota's here. What's up, Dakota? How you doing, my friend? So look, we're filling up, which is nice, and especially for these slow, quiet times. But there was some news today, and we decided that we do have something we can talk about, thanks to someone who's not always someone I consider our good friend, but Rich Cimini, good old Rich Cimini, came out with his prediction. So I'm not going to knock him. There's nothing attacking about the Jets. Nothing wrong with this. He came out with his prediction of our 53-man roster. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're going to prove me wrong. But I'm thinking there's nothing about this that's going to make me angry at Rich Cimini, because all it is his prediction of the 53-man roster.
We'll see.
Wow.
Somebody will be triggered. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah, probably me. I'm going to begin just by saying I'm not going to call him Rich. He's going to be Dick from now on. So if you hear me say Dick, you'll know who I'm talking about.
Dick Cimini.
Dick
Cimini. We know.
Dick Cimini. I can't stand that guy. Anyways, let's go.
Oh my God. And I listened to his latest podcast. I listened to the Flight Deck podcast, and he was like defending himself so ardently about the question he asked Mekhi Becton in the press conference and said, it was a damn good journalistic question, and I'd ask it again. It was like, well, at least he has conviction, if nothing else. But my God, can he can be annoying. When Buffalo Jets fans said he had DJ on, the outgoing Daily News Jets reporter, I really want to ask him, so what do you really think of Cimini and Connor? Sadly, that question did not get asked on the show.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
I'm trying to figure out why Dakota thinks we're cutting Mims, because he's having a great camp so far. And the coaching staff talks about him very affectionately. Yeah. So I don't know why or where you're hearing this, but I seriously doubt there's no reason we would cut Mims before. If we were going to cut him, even if we couldn't trade him, we wouldn't cut him now. There's no reason to cut him now. It doesn't cost us anything to keep him in training camp. Like, why would we cut Mims now and not let him even come to training camp? It makes no sense. Maybe he'll have even if we were thinking that we don't want him on the team, we would use him in the preseason games, and if he lit it up, then we can raise his trade value. So no, we're not cutting Mims, dude. We're not cutting him unless he has a horrible camp and he gets beat out and nobody wants to trade for him, and we cut him. But we're not cutting him today. We're not cutting him tomorrow. And personally, I don't think we're going to be cutting him at all.
No, I mean, Mike. We saw in flight. Mike LaFleur is getting that salmon ready. He had all those fillets of salmon ready to deliver to Denzel Mims personally to get him off the team. It all came together, guys.
Right. I'm thinking they wouldn't be speaking as glowingly of him right now if they really, kind of didn't hope to be able to move him if he doesn't pan out. But realistically, I mean, it's too early to really say if he's going to ball out, right? But I mean, the kid's talented. It's not like we haven't expected him to play better ball than what he has.
And we're not the only. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it just doesn't make sense. I think Jeremy's right. It doesn't make sense to believe we're going to cut him.
I was actually watching a couple of clips. I was watching Tom Grossi, the well-known Packers fan. I was watching a couple of different scenarios. Like after flight, I wanted to see how other teams were reacting to the Jets draft. I wanted to get other perspectives. And, even this year and last year, people were like, man, maybe we could get Mims. Maybe we can get Mims. The Jets were not the only team that was high on Denzel Mims. So it's not as if this is like a Jets mistake where the rest of the league is thinking, what are the Jets thinking about?
Yeah.
So people acknowledge he has talent.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember that draft in particular, right? I mean, we were so excited about the fact that we actually, I mean, we to the point we're praising Joe Douglas. Oh my God, he traded back and still got him. It's just a first round talent. He was a first round talent, right? That was the expectation. Yeah, it hasn't panned out. I mean, some kids take a little longer, but we've had some changes. He's had some changes. The possibility is he can grow up. We'll see what it looks like. I don't know. I don't want to put too many eggs in that basket right now. But Denzel Mims, I mean, it's not like the kid isn't a physical specimen. I mean, who hasn't already remarked on that this season? And it's still early. We'll see.
Yeah, the kid's 23 years old. I mean, he's still a baby. And usually you get, it's only going into his third year. He had one catastrophic year last year that was the worst in his life. I mean, he's great in college. He looked like he had promise his rookie year. And just to address this, hey, if he's the WR5, right? Every team has one. It's not like we're only going to carry 4 receivers. But keep this in mind, Dakota. When is the last time we went through a season where we haven't lost to injury multiple wide receivers? Can you even remember? Last year, we lost our top 3 receivers at the same time. Corey Davis was out for extended time. Elijah Moore was out. We were using guys named Tyreek Black and DC Montgomery as our wide receivers. So if he's WR5, maybe in a perfect world he wouldn't get playing time because those other guys that you named are so unbelievable and so good. But unfortunately, we have to remember about our injury history like any team, and we have to have depth. So Mims has as much chance to win that WR5 spot as anybody else. He is a physical specimen. We did invest a 2nd-round pick on him. And if he has an amazing camp and we don't think we're going to use him enough, that's when there might be a trade because Joe will pick up the phone. Someone might come in and say, that guy's too good to be a WR5. We'll take him and we'll give you, some kind of pick or some kind of player, a backup tackle. Who knows? But it's not going to be about whether he's going to get playing time. It's just a matter of, is he going to win a spot on the roster? Then you worry about playing time.
He's one injury away from starting, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And remember, when you're training with Joe Douglas, you got to pay the Joe Douglas tax. You got to pay like another extra round or 2 than what other teams would normally pay. That's just part of the price of doing business with Joe Douglas.
Yeah.
Hey, Dark Soldier.
That's a fact. Soldier. It's been a minute, my guy.
Yeah, we got the A list out here for this chat tonight for the show. This is awesome.
Yeah. Everybody's here.
Yeah.
Everybody's here. He was asking about what's the lowest grade. I think he means it's just A and F. I mean, I guess you can rate every player with an A and F. But getting back to why I think a lot of people are clicking on, because I think there's an expectation we're going to talk about. We're going to go into each position group, and we're going to talk about Rich Cimini's picks for the 53-man roster and what that means position by position as far as who's going to get cut. I don't know if he goes into – does Rich go into who he thinks will be on the practice squad, or are we just going to make those assumptions?
We're going to make those assumptions, and let's be honest. Half the time when you have a practice squad, half of it is made up of players from other teams anyway. So it's pretty early to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Modine. Just Modine. Rich Cimini is the Main Street Media beat guy that – he's covered the Jets for many, many years. He worked for the Daily News. He used to be the Daily News. Now he works for ESPN. He's covered the Jets forever. He's made himself pretty controversial, very unpopular, but he's also popular with some people as well.
Yeah.
That's who he is. Sorry, guys, go ahead.
And with Manish Managan, he's either the most or second most unpopular beat reporter that the Jets have. I think that's fair to say. Hey, Mark, good to see you.
Kaz is up there, right? Kaz is up there, right?
I like Kaz. I like Kaz. The only issue I really have with Costello is he doesn't reply to anybody on Twitter. Yeah, but I do like Costello, I gotta say.
Have had my disagreements with all of them at some point in time, but Dick Cimini, yeah, no, there's no way. You know what? I'm not sure if I've ever made it back-to-back articles without having some sort of serious gripe with him. I can't say he's 100% wrong all the time, right? I think maybe he's just jaded. He's been here too long. But I mean, as a Jets fan of 40 years myself, I would never, kind of lean the way that he does. It's just something about it. It just seems like it's a little more personal than what it should be in most cases.
Well, certainly his attacks on Becton, I mean, are just him and Connor both. I mean, him and Country Club Connor, they just are relentless with the attacks on Becton. It just never seems to end.
It is. It's ridiculous.
Crazy. Anyway, what position shall we start with, Adam?
Well, I think that we should start at the top of the list. Let's just start with the offense, and we'll just kind of go with a natural progression here. So why don't we start with the quarterback position? Let's just get the number one position out of the way. And by the way, so Cimini did include not only who he thinks is going to make the roster, but he included like a little bit of a paragraph. So I'll feel like I can just read that paragraph as well. So he predicts no surprises, 3 quarterbacks: Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Mike White. I don't think too many of us are going to be surprised, especially after last season when the Jets did not have Joe Flacco or any veteran on the team. They just went with Zach Wilson and Mike White. I think it's safe to say that they have learned their lesson. And, so this year it's going to be 3 quarterbacks. I can't imagine it would go any other way barring injury.
Okay, so that's interesting right off the bat, because there was already talk of people weighing in with opinions that we'd only carry 2.
Yeah.
So I mean, right away, Rich Cimini thinks we're going to carry 3. I'm not offended by that, whether I agree with it or not. Nothing controversial there. It's perfectly reasonable to think that we would carry both. More Mike White being the future and Flacco being like the quarterback 2 for this year.
I have maybe a little bit of a maybe a slightly different take on this, because I'm thinking, the carrying 3 quarterbacks is dependent upon somebody not trying to, kind of pry Mike White away from us, as we started getting the camp coming up. I mean, how much do we really feel like if somebody makes an offer, we wouldn't move him? And I think he's demonstrated. I mean, he can be a capable quarterback in this league. He's capable of putting up, pretty good numbers if we want to, accept what it is that we saw in Cincinnati last season. So 3 quarterbacks, it to me, I think it's more just about if we're able to keep those 3 quarterbacks in particular, and not necessarily saying that we won't carry 3. I just don't know if Mike White is actually going to make it.
If he winds up being a career backup, though, I mean, he's at worst, he's a competent backup quarterback. When you make him play his game, he's not a very versatile quarterback. I mean, if you're asking him to play like Rich Gannon, he's really not going to be able to do that. But he's the type of quarterback I could see kicking around the league for 6-7 years, making occasional stuff. He could be like like a Case Keenum, that kind of a guy. I don't think that's an unreasonable situation for Mike White's career.
It's not.
No, not at all. I mean, I think that, obviously it was exaggerated when he came in and everything he did. But I think the one thing he did do was set himself a nice path to have a real career as a backup quarterback.
Absolutely.
There you go.
I'd agree with that 100%.
Okay, so that was the easy one, because the only dispute there is 2 or 3.
Yes.
But the names were not a surprise. No shocks. Let's go into the next position.
Okay, let's talk about running backs. So Dick Cimini has, by the way, it'd be great if he just showed up into this chat. We'll send him the link after this. I'm sure he'll be willing to watch it.
That's why I'm trying to be respectful and everything, because if he did, I would want him to talk and not.
Look.
Rich, by the way, if you're watching, we love you. You do a fantastic job. You're welcome on our shows anytime you'd like.
Yeah, if he showed up, I would absolutely give him the link and let him come on.
Yeah, so and we wouldn't mind the plug either, and you won't offend us with cash.
Okay. I probably wouldn't even call him Dick.
Mr. Cimini, if you please.
Right.
Sir.
Welcome aboard.
Oh boy, yeah, that article you wrote back in like 1996.
Yeah,
was just really impressive.
God,
just
right?
the way you broke down the Dorian Boost draft pick was just amazing.
It's like Mr. Cimini, when I called you a putz, I meant that in a good way.
Right. Don't take that personal.
I thought Manish wrote it. Okay, running back. So Cimini has us keeping 4 running backs: Michael Carter, Breece Hall, Tevin Coleman, and Ty Johnson.
Wow.
Cue the controversy. Cue the wackiness. So he has Ty Johnson beating out. Let's think. Well, Michael Pirine, Bam Knight. Those would get beat out. By the way, this does not include fullback. It's just like halfback. Just want to be clear on that. But it's really it's like Johnson, Pirine, and Knight really competing for one roster spot is what we would say here, I think. But he has Ty Johnson.
Okay, I want to say that I would imagine that Knight would be at least put on the practice squad and protected.
Yeah.
We did sign him for a reason, and he does have that special teams. Like he's very, very, very gifted when it comes to special teams.
Yes,
and being a returner. So I could see him being put on the practice squad. I have no problem with that. That he might end up on the practice squad. It's very hard to imagine them keeping Ty Johnson. I can't get over the drops, the pass drops that game he had.
I know. It hurt. Yeah, it hurts. I mean, even one of the preseason, I think one of the late flight videos, they show like little clips of him. And, the best thing I can say about Ty Johnson is he has great hair game. He has a pretty impressive throw. And he does a great job tiptoeing down the sideline when he actually holds on to the ball. He has nice agility and he has nice footwork, but it feels like Ty Johnson's been hanging around here about as long as Marcus May did. It just feels like it's, he's been here. Fine. We appreciate your few contributions. Let's just time to move on. Time to move on to something else. It doesn't make sense to keep Ty Johnson, in my opinion.
I don't think any of those guys really is going to outlast Bam. And I'll kind of throw this to a point that you were making earlier, the special teams capability. I think that actually puts him ahead of all of those guys. Not to mention the fact I think that he's probably just a better running back than they are. I mean, when it'll be seen, I guess, as it shakes out. But realistically, Ty Johnson that's a laughable choice. I think it's a lazy pick. I think Rick Cimini should probably know better than that, to be honest with you. But Bam Knight, if you don't already know, check up the film, man. That kid is most definitely, he's a player. And obviously, when you're a rookie and you're scratching to make that roster spot, that special teams presence is a really big deal. And we do, mind you, who's probably been the best coach that we've had on the roster for the past 5-6 years, in our special teams guys. So I don't know. I think Bam kind of takes that. The question about why would we keep Ty Johnson is one that I don't think anyone really would have an answer to.
No, and I think that Bam is your backup returner behind Braxton Berrios, because that was one of his biggest contributions at NC State, was that he was a kick returner. So
I would think that Bam would be kept in some way. I wouldn't mind even if he was the fourth guy who makes the team, because I mean, let's say Berrios sprains his ankle and he's out for 3 weeks. Who do you want returning punts? Like I kind of want him. I think there's a reason we signed him. I think it was a reason people were shocked he didn't get drafted.
Not Jeff Smith.
I was going to say it would probably be Jeff Smith. That is who it would be. It would be Jeff Smith, Mr. Versatility. I'm surprised we don't plug him in at defensive tackle as our run-stopping defensive tackle.
We never know.
Staff seems to think so much of him. So,
I also want to say that Perrine came in, they said, looking lighter, looking quicker, and gets really a lot of props from Michael Carter. Michael Carter really likes him and talks about him in a very favorable way, saying people don't underestimate him. He's really talented. So it's weird. It's just a shock because Ty Johnson would be the last of the I think he has the longest, the biggest hill to climb.
Yeah, I don't even want to. I'm just really having a hard time entertaining the fact that we would bring that guy back, knowing some of the deficiencies we've actually seen on film in games. But no, I don't. I'm not sure. If you have friends and all of that, like Nick Mango, like Ryan Fitzpatrick, they love the guy, and
and I don't even have an issue with Michael Pirine. I mean, there are some people are really down on him. I think he's just incredibly average. Yeah. He's just a guy. He doesn't do anything great. He doesn't do anything horribly. He's just a guy. He's a roster filler. Like
Had-
if you're at an award show, here's the analogy. If you're at an award show, he's the seat filler. He won't be on stage. He's not going to present the award, but he'll sit there taking up space.
Right.
He has his role in the audience.
You'll pan the camera. He'll be sitting there, and then you'll just it's quick. Let's
It's
move
like,
away from.
who's that? Who's that guy?
Let's move away from him real quick. Realistically, and I mean, Jeremy, you probably know this more than anyone. You know, CJ and I, my fabulous co-host on Weapons Hot, the Painkiller, he loved P. Ryan coming out. You know, that's his college team, and you know, CJ really felt strongly that the kid was going to come in and play well. And I don't think I've ever disagreed with CJ on anything as strongly as I have about the fact that Michael P. Ryan, is not necessarily a good running back. So, yeah, that's pretty much a wrap to that. I don't expect to continue to hear his name coming out of camp.
Right. I think he's an average guy. It's like he's not the guy you want starting for you. But he's also, I will say, unlike Ty Johnson, he's more reliable in that I trust him more as far as not dropping little 5-yard flicks. And you know, I don't see him as a fumbler. Like I don't think he's a hamper, like someone that hurts the team. But I also think he's running out of time simply because we're building up our roster and we're getting better as a team, and it's going to be harder and harder to make the team. And guys who are just average, like him, are going to have a lot of trouble staying on our team because our roster is becoming much better than just average.
Great point.
Well,
You know?
Great point. Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
All right. So that covers the running back situation.
Okay. All right. Well, we do keep a fullback. I'm happy to say we are keeping Nick Bawden on the team per Rich Cimini, which I, for one, am thrilled about. So Cimini has Bawden beating out Trevon Wesco. I love Bawden's physicality. I love his his willingness really to mix it up with opponents. He is not one to take any crap from anybody. I think he could emerge as, I think Justin Hardy is pretty much guaranteed to be a special teams captain. But I believe if Saleh has 2 offensive captains, 2 defensive captains, and 2 special teams captains, you can make an argument to me for Nick Bawden being the 2nd special teams captain. I'm very happy about this prediction.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
I think that we saw significant improvement in the fullback area, and we were able to go back to 21 and 22 personnel because of Nick Bawden. I think we abandoned it pretty fast, and then only after we were able to pick him up, we're able to even go back to it. So there's no question in my mind that if we're gonna keep a fullback or play that personnel, which we know they like to do and LaFleur likes to do, I think Nick Bawden's pretty much, to me, he's been a lock to make the roster.
Yeah, this is almost a no-brainer, right? Realistically, as we start to fill out the roster, right, to Jeremy's point, we're going to start running different sets and things of that nature. I think the more multiple we get, the more he actually is able to show how good of a football player he actually is. I don't think it's just going to be limited to, blocking out of the backfield or what have you. I think the guy is a supreme athlete. He's a great talent. He's also, like a fan favorite. How many of the folks really do kind of like what it is that he brings to the table? You'll get a pop here, you get a pop there, especially with the expectation that we're going to run the ball as much as we are this season. I expect to see him, maybe not, every single game, showing up and doing something crazy, but in spots when we really kind of need it, he's shown that he can be the type of guy that can make plays for us. And I think that's an awesome addition. I'm all for keeping him, especially over Trevon Wesco, who, mind you, he's had a couple of flashes over how many ever seasons, right? Because we are talking about multiple years that he's been here. Yep. The injuries, the lack of production. I mean, I know the name is familiar, but I still think Bawden actually beats him out. I think it'll be well deserved for him to have that roster spot.
And I will say this. So Nick Bawden, we got him from Detroit. I mean, it's amazing how we have a tendency now to get players off waivers from lousy teams, but somehow they turn out to be pretty good with us. Yeah. Quincy Williams, now Nick Bawden. But Nick Bawden joined the Jets for week 10. That first week, he played 2 snaps, 3% of the team's offensive plays. The last 2 weeks, he played 13 snaps and 9 snaps. He was playing 20% of the offensive snaps. Clearly, this coaching staff, Mike LaFleur, they see value in playing him. They see that he can add a dimension that the offense did not have during the first week of that season. And I look forward to seeing a full season of him. Plus, we have to keep his girlfriend around because she is just ridiculous.
Smoke show. Smoke show. Smoke show. Woo.
Okay, so we got fullback, running back, and quarterback done. What's next?
Okay, let's go to wide receiver. There's always going to be a controversial decision in the wide receiver room. So we are keeping the following players: Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Braxton Berrios. That's 4. We are keeping 2 more: Jeff Smith and a guy named Denzel Mims.
I thought he was going to leave Mims out. I was about to lose my.
I don't think you can. I think this is a little easier than maybe some folks are trying to make it out to be. To be honest with you, unless somebody really does just kind of blow stuff out of the water when they put the pads on, I don't see it being any different than what it is that Mr. Cimini has, right? We'll be respectful in this case. Mr. Cimini has kind of outlined exactly how I would expect it to go. What I will say is this, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Denzel Mims does kind of show up and make some noise. But I also think that Braxton Berrios is going to be a much bigger part of this offense than maybe even some folks might think that he should. And I think that was kind of evident in how they talked about him. You know, we were talking about the flight 2022. Braxton's never going to be a Wayne Corbett type of guy. I mean, as far as production is concerned, I don't know if he's as sure-handed. I don't know if he is as clutch as what it is that we saw from one of my all-time favorite Jets and Wayne Corbett. But I think the kid makes noise, and if he can stay healthy, I think there really is something to be said for him, becoming a mainstay in this offense going forward. And that is going to make it a lot harder for guys like Mims and Jeff Smith to actually make noise. We'll see.
You know what? I gained a lot of respect for Berrios this past year for one particular reason. 2 years ago, he had so many drops. This past season, it's like he learned how to catch the football. Now, I don't know if that was the difference of Sam Darnold throwing the football as opposed to Zach Wilson, whatever it might be. We know Wilson had a very high drop rate, but it wasn't because of Braxton Berrios. The two of them just have some kind of a connection. Berrios sort of like he's like the exception that disproves the rule. Yeah. Is what I would say. So the fact that Berrios became a very sure-handed, reliable receiver, I gain a ton of respect for him just for doing that. Even more so than because of his ability to return a kick or return a punt.
Yeah, and Zach does love him.
Yes,
Zach really does. Yeah.
Oh, you could tell there was some romance going on for sure. Yeah. So are we good with? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, we know the first 4, but after Smith and Mims, then you're getting into the Tariq Blacks, the DJ Montgomerys, maybe some undrafted free agent that is not Charles, I believe it was, or even Charles. Is that
I think I just saw in the comments Calvin Jackson too, who
Calvin Jackson,
I think is a intriguing prospect. I'm just not sure if we've seen enough to say that he'll make it. A lot of this is really going to be dependent upon when they put the pads on, and can they mentally assimilate everything that they need to into this offense. It's going to be really interesting. It really is, because when you're talking about the second year guys and them having a little bit of a leg up because of their familiarity with the terminology, the audibles and things of that nature. Some of those guys that have been kind of on the bubble or coming into training camp might not necessarily have that part of it down. It's going to make it really difficult for them to kind of breach that top 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah, it's it was Irvin Charles from Indiana, Pennsylvania. So maybe if there's one guy who can make a push, it's him. I hope at least he's doing better than Tariq Black and DJ Montgomery. Like
we've got guys. We do have guys. I mean, Joe Douglas is bringing in talent, some athletes, man.
Yeah, as soon as there's an injury, though, the depth is going to get tested, though. I mean, if they had kept like a Keelan Cole, I would have, even though at first I was willing to lose Keelan Cole. It's like I really didn't want him back. aside from doing like the interviews. My favorite thing that he did was really conduct those interviews because he has such a great personality.
Right.
But as free agency drag, it's like, oh gosh, we might be running a little bit short on receiver depth here. So it's just something to think about. So 6 wide receivers.
Yeah, this is way too early predictions anyway, right?
I think that Calvin Jackson will either be on the practice squad or get another opportunity somewhere else. They'll give him, if he continues to play well in practice and has a good camp, they'll give him the props. They'll help him out. They're on the phone with other teams. You might see him join the 49ers because there's a strong relationship, or Green Bay because there's a strong relationship. There's some ties there. Philadelphia, but if he'll have an opportunity, I think. But he's probably a guy who needs another year in the oven at least before he's going to get that opportunity for real.
Gotta agree with that.
Okay. All right, are we ready to go to offensive line?
Yes, right. This is the one that I'm most excited about, honestly.
Okay, I think offensive line and defensive line. I think those are the two. And you could even and actually, we have to do tight end. Tight end we got to do.
Yeah.
Okay. My apologies. Okay, we're keeping tight end CJ Uzomah, Tyler Conklin, Jeremy Ruckert, and that is it. Wow. 3 tight ends. This bothered me. I gotta say, this was maybe my biggest beef or second biggest beef with the predictions, because this means that we're cutting Kenny Yeboah. Lawrence Cager's not going to make the team, and he may be the best catcher out of all of the tight ends that we have. And to me, Kenny Yeboah, at worst case, fills the Dan Brown scenario, where he can play special teams and he can see the field in certain limited occasions. There may not be many outside of injury, but I just have a problem with only going with 3 tight ends. I got to keep a 4th on special teams, because I don't know if Jeremy Ruckert is ready to play special teams. I want a veteran in there. Somebody with a little experience. So
I'm not sure if Ruckert has any history of playing special teams either.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I was really excited for the kid. His folks live a couple of just kind of right down the block from my mom. So I've seen that high school play a couple of times and going back home. Look, Cager, I think it's a long shot to make it anyway, just because of maybe the not being able to block, effectively. But Kenny Yeboah, though, man, I kind of thought that Kenny Yeboah was actually going to be making a little bit more noise than what it is that I'm hearing, and maybe it is just being drowned out by the new signings. But realistically, that depth and those guys that that are at the bottom part of that, or that right at the fringe in that tight end room. Those guys have a really good opportunity right now. And I think, I wouldn't be surprised if this is, one of the first ones that we say that there's some deviation from what it is that he chose. Which one of those guys is it going to be? That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What surprises me about it is just because, there's a health issue too. There's about staying healthy and staying on the field.
Yeah.
So to go with 3 tight ends, that means if one of those, if one of the top 2 go down, Uzomah has had trouble.
Has a history.
Right. He has a history. He has trouble staying on the field. So if he goes down, now you're telling me we're bringing Ruckert in. He's going to get real playing time and be dependent upon. Now it's early. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm saying it's early to be predicting that we're going with 3 and that we're going to put that much trust in a rookie. It's really early to be saying that. It's hard to imagine. And again, there's only so many protected practice squad spots, so I can't keep going to that as my backup. But it just seems weird if you let Yeboah get away and you let Cager get away, and then one of these guys gets hurt and Ruckert's not really ready yet. Then we have to go get someone off the garbage heap to come in to be another tight end. I don't know. It just kind of feels weird.
Are we still operating under the COVID rules? We have that additional spots on the.
I think it's 10 spots.
It's 10.
I want to say it's 10 on the practice squad. Paging Ryan Griffin paging Ryan Griffin.
All right.
That's what this is going to come to. And hey, let's hope Rutgers Foot is ready to go for training camp in July, because he wasn't really able to participate as much as we would have liked him to during OTAs.
Absolutely.
That was weird. Okay, so only 3 tight ends. Now, with offensive line, to me, this was also pretty surprising. I wasn't too thrilled with what I saw here. We are keeping, according to our buddy Dick Cimini, George Fant, Laken Tomlinson, Connor McGovern, Elijah Vera Tucker, Mekhi Becton. So that's your starting 5. After that, we are keeping the following: Connor McDermott, Dan Feeney, Nate Herbig, and Max Mitchell. 9 offensive linemen. Now, I'm just going to take this right to you. It's a simple question. Is this one too many offensive linemen? And what does this say about Mekhi Becton, too?
No, because according to the rules, you have to have at least 9 to have an extra active player each week. There's some kind of rule. 48 or instead of 47 is some kind of rule. But you have to have 9 offensive linemen on the active roster for that rule to kick in. So I think that we definitely are going to have at least 9.
I don't like our depth, to be perfectly honest with you. I think while Feeney may be a serviceable player, he's not really a good player. Same thing for Connor McDermott, who I'm not even sure is serviceable and is nowhere near possibly being good. Herbig, I'll be honest, I'm not really familiar with Herbig, and Max Mitchell obviously is a draft pick, who has a kind of a high ceiling. Let's be honest, from what it is that I saw when I looked at him, the kid can grow into a really good player. I would maybe even think that possibly they drafted him to be a long-term starter. Once he gets his legs under him. So 9, it kind of does make sense for me. I just don't like the names. I don't like those guys. They're not really good players. And I know that we've done a lot to really exponentially help our starters. But it's going to take a little time for us to fill out the depth. And I would hope within the next 2 seasons that maybe one of those guys is still here. The other 3, I could see them, kind of moving away from. At least I hope they do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously assuming that we can't make any moves. I mean, we have a backup guard that's good and a solid backup guard. Like, we know him from Philadelphia. He has starting experience. That's all good. I think Feeney is more of a backup center. That's why he would make the roster if he makes the roster, because somebody's got to be the backup center.
Then why do we sign Herbig? To me, that's what Herbig's for, is to be that guard/center.
Yeah.
He can play center.
So to me, Feeney at this point is expendable. I would rather lose Feeney and keep the extra tight end. That's
really
me.
don't like me.
Feeney's in trouble if we do sign another offensive lineman. Then if we sign Riley Reef, then he's in big trouble, Feeney or McDermott.
Yeah, I have a feeling what Cimini's real. First of all, this means Chuma Edoga is bon voyage. We wish you well in your future endeavors. So that would be. But I think that'd be the idea. But I think it would be a situation with Max Mitchell where he's deactivated for pretty much every game. Like, this would be his redshirt year. I think that's what it would come to, unless they absolutely had a plan.
And I'm not mad at that either. I'm not mad at that either. You guys remember how long we had Dakota Dozier on the roster before he ended up
he's still in the league.
He's still in the league. And look, he was starting last season, right? So I mean, he's a monster of a human being.
He's had the longest career of any of the IDSIC 12.
Yeah, and I mean, because of what Abushi, what Abushi was before him was that before him?
Ode Abushi, no, that wasn't part of the class. Yeah. The 2 best picks from that class were him, Dakota Dozier, and Quincy Enunwa. And of course, Quincy got hurt.
Yeah, facts. Dakota Dozier, who is a mountain monstrous guy, who I was really I spent 2 or 3 years wondering, where's this guy at? Like, I see him, and I see him in the warm-ups, I see him on the sideline, and never see him in the game. And then all of a sudden he's starting in Minnesota? I think he was, when I really recognized like he was gone. So yeah, Minnesota. If he takes some time to grow into being a starter, I just hope it doesn't take the same trajectory that the Dakota Dozier did.
It was like we traded. It wasn't a trade, but they signed Dozier, and we
Yeah.
signed their longtime offensive lineman. I think it was it Tom Compton?
Yeah.
We took Compton. They took Dozier,
Yeah.
and he'd been with Minnesota for a long time. And Compton played for about a year. And
Mhm.
Kelly Wilson, Adoga is my least favorite offensive lineman ever. Colin Baxter, the backup center for Nick Mangold, where Mark Sanchez got figuratively raped on national TV. For me, it's got to be Colin Baxter.
Yeah,
I will never
wow.
forget that game.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
We've had some. Listen, we have been talent deficient for such a long time.
Depth deficient, even more so. Like we had starters, but nothing behind them. Yeah, that's what'll do it to you.
What about the wasted pick? The wasted top 10 pick this is from years ago. For a lot of you might not remember, David Cadigan.
David Cadigan.
Yeah, I'm just saying, the name sounds familiar, but
I know the
why?
name.
Right?
Late 80s, early 90s, I believe. At some point, someone here will know. Salty Nolte will remember. But there was a wasted first-round pick, one of our many in our history. So.
I'm surprised. How did David Cadigan not make the infamous Jets draft blunders video?
I don't know. Well,
how did he get cut? How is Freeman McNeil on it, but David Cadigan isn't?
It's crazy.
That makes no sense.
It's crazy.
Man, it's messed up. So that's the offense. All right. So total we've got 7, 8, 14, 17, 26 offensive players. So 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 1 fullback, 6 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, and 9 offensive linemen.
Okay.
All right. So shall we go on to defense?
Yes.
Oh, wait a second.
Because this is going to be very interesting right now.
I'm just shocked that we actually did it. I didn't even realize we covered the entire. Okay.
That's the whole offense.
Defense.
That's the whole offense.
Let's do it.
I don't think there's no surprises there on offense, though, right? I mean, there's really anything that kind of.
Ty Johnson only keeping 3 tight ends. I'd say that's a little surprising. That's about the closest to a surprise there is.
Yeah.
Nothing earth-shattering.
Yeah, 4 tight ends and bump Ty Johnson out of that running back spot.
You could do that, or for me, I would. My preference is to let Dan Feeney go and let Nate Herbig be my backup interior offensive lineman. Play jack of all trades on the IOL. That's what I would do.
Or McDermott.
Feeney stands out to me as more of a locker room guy. McDermott, I think, would probably be a better choice for me to go ahead and jettison his ass out of here ASAP. So, yeah.
Okay. Actually, no. Let's do special teams. Then we'll go to defense. How about that? Let's bring it. Special teams usually gets left last. I want to give special teams a little bit of love here. Okay, so the 3 specialists we would keep are Thomas Hennessy as a long snapper. I know.
He's the safest guy on the roster.
Right.
I know. Thomas Hennessy, yes, who thankfully hasn't made me drink any yet. Braden Mann, of course, Braden Mann, punter, and kicker would be Greg Zuerlein. So, I mean, the only thing is Zuerlein, Pinheiro.
It's a 50-50 toss-up. I mean, I'm not going to knock anybody for predicting Zuerlein. I think it's 50-50. So,
I think it probably shouldn't be 50-50 though. I mean, Zuerlein's a little more erratic than what it is that we've seen in Pinheiro. Maybe Pinheiro doesn't have that leg, but I mean, would you prefer the percentage increase in accuracy than you would on distance?
And not only that, but who's going to be better at kickoffs? I also wonder about kickoffs. That's usually very overlooked also when it comes to kickers.
Yeah. Then that would give Zuerlein the edge. Then, yeah.
I will say this: Pinheiro never missed a kick last year. The only one that he missed was blocked, but he never missed short, left, or right one time last year. And there is something to be said for that.
I like Pinheiro. Yeah, I like Pinheiro myself. Yeah.
It's great. Like for years, we would never bring in a kicker. We never had a legitimate kicking competition, and now it's like it's going to hurt to let one of these guys go as it stands right now. I mean, this is not Chase McLaughlin or Chandler Canzero or anybody like that.
I'd rather not have the guy. I'd rather not have the guy that gives us a good shot at a 55-yarder. but I'd rather, and we lose that way because we couldn't get a 55-yarder. That's a better scenario than you lose because you miss a 44-yarder.
Exactly.
Pinero doesn't miss the 44-yarder. So that's why I'm more Pinero.
Yeah, that is kind of my point, right? Like
Yeah.
with the way that our offense is designed, I'm expecting us to put up a lot of points. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but I believe that the way that we're going to move would be better suited for having a guy like Pinero than it would be for a guy like Zerline.
I think we'll have a lot better field position this year than we did last year because we'll be able to get a pass rush. We'll have cornerbacks who can cover. We have more weapons on offense. I don't think we're going to be counting on needing as many 50-plus yard field goals as we did previously when we were trotting out the Alex Kessmans of the world, the Sam Fickens of the world. I know, Alex Kessman, yeah. Yeah.
That's harsh. That's harsh. Like the memories right now. Like, I need a drink for real.
There's so many guys who have just gone into I don't know that we can build like a gallows for. It's really quite horrifying. So I figured we should get special teams out of the way.
Okay.
All right. So with the defensive line, so many names. It's going to be hard to let some of them go.
That's what I was saying. This is the most interesting part, I think, right here. This is going to be difficult.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I agree with you. So. Here is who we are keeping. First of all, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I'm gonna ask give you a little trivia. How many defensive linemen do you think that Rich Cimini projected that we would keep on the roster?
Wow, 9.
9. Okay, Jeremy, what do you think?
It's a wild guess.
All right.
Yeah, I would think 8 in the rotation, 1 extra. Yeah, I go at 9.
Spot on, gentlemen. Well done. 9. That's exactly right. So here's who he has us keeping. Quinnen Williams, John Franklin Myers, Carl Lawson, Jermaine Johnson. Pretty easy so far. Now we are keeping Sheldon Rankins, Jacob Martin, Solomon Thomas, Nathan Shepard, and everybody's favorite draft pick, Michael Clemens. So here's what that means. We're losing players such as, I know, Jabari Zuniga, Jonathan Marshall, Bradley Anai, Bryce Huff, Vinnie Curry, Tim Ward, Denzel Smart, Hamilcar Rashed. We are cutting about as many guys as we are keeping from that defensive line.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
This is very specifically why I thought this was going to be extremely interesting, because the case can be made for us keeping 11 guys. Right? I mean, it honestly could be made for us to keep it. There's 11 guys worth of talent that would benefit us keeping them. But Joe Douglas is going to have to do really a masterful job at juggling this, because there's going to be guys that are going to go that we're going to be like, Dad, did we really lose him? And then we're talking about keeping Nathan Shepard, which no, but I digress. The possibility is that 11 guys could actually be in the mix for this. I know, Jeremy, you were talking about practice squad earlier. How many of those guys do you think would actually even make it to the practice squad before they get snatched up and end up playing, pretty serious minutes on another team? Probably quite a few of them.
Yeah, it's just the what I have the hardest time with is Bryce Huff.
Yeah, it hurts.
Because
that's Nathan Shepard.
I mean Nathan Shepard, but you're going to let Huff go. Huff got injured, didn't he? I mean, wasn't he looking really good before he had a
back injury? He had a back injury. Yeah.
I don't think you'd let a guy go who is showing that kind of potential in that position, an edge who could potentially be decent. He was getting a lot of sacks in training camp. He was terrorizing the offense last year.
He was looking good early in the season. I think some folks kind of forget that early stretch where our defense was really looking top 10, right? I mean, the beginning of the season, we really were expecting that the defense was going to be solid all season, and then the wheels fell off. So a lot of that, if you really kind of go back and check out the film, was Bryce Huff stepping up and making plays when we kind of needed him. I'm not saying all pro kind of caliber player, but for what it is that he was last season, he was really pretty good when he was out there. So again, Nathan Shepard. I can't even begin. Like I can't fathom why it is that we're still doing this.
We would feel pretty stupid if Huff became like some other team's JFM. The way we got JFM
I
from
can
the
see
Rams.
it. I
And
can
that's
see it.
likely.
I really think the
That's
argument
likely.
for Shepard, and I'm playing devil's advocate, okay? I don't exactly own a Nathan Shepard jersey, but I think they look at him as being basically like they love how studious he is, that he pays attention to film, that he leads by example, that he has good character apparently, but he plays the runabout as well as any defensive lineman that we have on the inside. Now, I think Quinnen is probably our best run-stopping defensive lineman at this point, but he's not that run stopper first and foremost. That's not what the defense is going to do. My biggest concern, I've said this over and over, is stopping the run, and it's going to take a collective effort from all 11 guys to do that. But when we have to stop 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 on the goal line to win a game, I don't have the confidence that we can make that stop right now. That scares the crap out of me. I got to be honest with you.
I you know what? It's a phenomenal point. Because that 3rd and 1 is what really could end up extending a game and costing us, as a young team, costing us wins, right? In that regard, I don't see Nathan Shepard being that kind of mini Foley Fadakasi, who I would trust in that position, right? I would most definitely trust that he would, get penetration and quite possibly make the stop. Nathan Shepard, he's like 57 years old, I think, coming into training camp this year too. So. I don't know. I as much as I can say I have seen him flash slightly, it hasn't been enough for me to be like, let's keep him over some of these other guys that are on this list. I kind of can't see it. Especially when you're talking about a Sheldon Rangens, especially when you're talking about a Bryce Huff. No, I'm just not. I'm just not there. Yeah, I'm just not there.
And the Sheldon and the penalties that Shepard takes. I mean, It was him and whatchamacallit, Denzel Mims. They led the team in penalties last year. That means something to me.
It does.
Just to answer Jennifer's question, who's our certified run stuffer? So I'm going to give my take on this. I think that the way we're going to be a better team against the run is not so much which defensive tackle is going to be the better run stuffer. I think it's going to come from better safety play to start, guy like Whitehead. It's going to come from better linebacker play, Quincy Williams being in the right place more and learning the system better and playing better, and just overall better defensive line play. Having guys like Reed and Sauce Gardner, who are probably going to be better tacklers in the cornerback position. But I think it's more of a team thing. I think it's going to be more just everybody stepping up their game than just relying on it being one person, like who's the run stuffing person. Yeah. I think it's just going to be we have to play better as a team defensively against the run.
That is a phenomenal point. Jennifer asked a pretty good question also.
Yeah.
But I think my response to that would be really kind of similar to yours. I don't think we do it as having a certified guy. I don't think that guy is on our roster at this point. I think because we are still filling out our talent, because we still don't have talent, on that level at every position that we're going to need it. I don't think that guy is on our team currently. I think the ones who are going to have to step up are guys that I'll say this: guys like Hamza and Jamie and Sherwood, when they come back as those weak side backers, the guys that are going to be able to move and be in space. I think those guys stepping up and playing much better is really where we're going to get a lot of our positive impact in the run game. Or run defense.
Scheme related, not athletic. Well, not every other guy was doing so well in the scheme. So you still have to find guys that can do it in the scheme, don't you?
Yeah. That's kind of the point, right? Yeah. Isn't that the point? Yeah. You execute the scheme.
Yeah.
I like seeing Dakota and Mo go head to head because they're like exact polar opposites of the Jets fan spectrum. The most positive one I know and maybe the most negative one I know. They're right up there. They're like top 3 in each category. So it's kind of fun seeing them go at it right now. Okay, so defensive line. Any more thoughts on DL, or do we want to go on a linebacker?
Yeah, let's move a little. We could do that all night. There's too many names, right?
Yeah,
you can make a decent rotation out of the guys we're cutting. that's the amazing thing. Like Vinny Curry to me was a guy I thought we would cut from the beginning. I thought they were just going to give him a look, but at the end of the day, he would. Yeah, I would. Yeah, he actually came from Cuba or the Dominican Republic.
Right.
That's what people don't know about.
Right. He pissed in the Little League World Series at 19 years old.
Danny Almonte, Nathan Shepard. There's the name out of the past. God bless him. Nowadays, nobody would care. Now
Right.
he got applauded for it.
Did we win? Right? Did we win?
I'm still waiting for the 30-30 to come out on that. It's amazing that it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, Jennifer, I do.
Yes, we do.
We remember.
Yes, we
That's
do.
why.
We know.
That's
Third
why
and
we
21. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's why we need. That's why we needed at so many levels. We needed to improve and upgrade in so many levels of the defense. Yeah. When you give up 3rd and 21, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, that's not a fix for one guy on the defensive line. That's you have to upgrade everything.
Multiple breakdowns.
Everybody was missing tackles. Nobody was coming. Yeah, I mean, you got the defensive line in county before they rush the passer. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then the quarterback throws the pass, and there's not even a jet on the screen with the wide receiver. Oh,
and just and just to kind of, I maybe give a little positivity to that, right? This is where we're going to see the difference now, right? Because we've gotten better in our defensive backfield. Maybe we haven't added the type of talent that we really kind of maybe need to at linebacker, but we are still getting some young guys back, some guys that, were trying to contribute last season with another year under their belt. So Jeremy's absolutely right. It is a tiered response to that, but I actually think that at each level, we're going to get back guys. We're going to bring back guys that are going to positively impact it. I don't see us being that same type of get gashed every, couple of plays type of defense. I don't see it.
All right, let's go on to linebacker. So I don't think there's anything too shocking here. I think we would mostly agree this is probably the weakest unit on the team. We're only keeping 5: C.J. Mosley, Quincy Williams, Hamza Nasruddin, Jamian Sherwood, and the ever forgotten Marcel Harris.
Who?
Exactly. The one caveat I would throw in this: why don't we ever talk about Jamian Sherwood tearing his Achilles?
Yeah.
We talk about Carl Lawson, but we have people who are overlooking Jamian Sherwood. I would not be shocked if he started on the PUP list, and maybe that gives a DQ Thomas, somebody like that, an opportunity at a starting roster spot. What do you think?
Well, I really want DQ Thomas to earn and win the spot. I'm really rooting for him. I think that what's going to determine that is if what he did in college translates to the NFL, and that is a question because of where he played. So with that, it's it's just the mystery. It's just, will he be just as electric and just as good when it all speeds up on him? I'm rooting for him because DQ Thomas would be fun to have, because me and my brother are already thinking of ideas for how every time he does something, we'll work Dairy Queen into the watch party.
That's good. That's gonna be, look, that's a really phenomenal name. Because we obviously we like his story, and we kind of do want to see him come in and play well. There is no doubt that this is the weakest position group in the building. And it just kind of leads me to believe that we've kind of watched Joe Douglas work, over the course of these past few seasons to kind of plug in and add and having to patch a little bit, like what's the guy, Jabril Davis, or I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on his first name, the cat we got from Detroit last season, Davis.
Gerard Davis.
Gerard Davis. Excuse me. Yeah, who didn't really play well and then ended up also getting hurt. So I think that he's going to have to focus some serious attention on that next season. And maybe even, add a couple of veterans. We're still talking about Quan Alexander right now, right? As being a possibility to add as we get ready to go in. I think adding a guy like that does kind of shore it up a little bit, but it does again lead me to believe that Joe Douglas is going to spend some serious capital on it going into next season.
Hey, Chrissy, I wanted to highlight your question really quick. So if you
I
could
was like,
add,
what's going
All
on?
right.
you gave me access. Once in a while, I get to. Once in a while, I will exercise my power. All right. If you could add one former Jet to this current squad, who would it be? The answer for me is pretty straightforward. It would actually be Mo Lewis. To upgrade this linebacker core, versatile. I know Green Bean would be proud of me for that one. I think he would be a perfect fit on this defense. A playmaker at linebacker alongside of Mosley playing off ball. I think that would make that defense pretty freaking sweet.
Man, that is such a good selection right there. That and I think I kind of want to maybe keep it in that same vein, but I would say John Abraham at this point because I really do want to see how well this defense can play if we do have a legitimate pass rush, right? I think our offense is going to be decent. I think we're going to have an easy offense. I think we're going to put up points. The defense is really the biggest question mark for me. And adding a guy like that most definitely puts us in position where Zach Wilson isn't having to play behind a 30th ranked defense. He can feel confident in the fact that our defense being a top 10, top 5 defense with a guy like that is going to give him opportunities to continue to play with confidence. So pass rush for me, I would say John Abraham.
I'm going to go with who I think was the best defensive player to ever play for the New York Jets. Well, Revis was better at his position, but I mean, Revis was really good too. But I would go more old school. I say, even though we're strong there, we stick Joe Klecko on the inside of this defensive line. You want to stop the run and also disrupt the passing game? You stick Joe Klecko next to Q Williams, and we got ourselves a game. We got ourselves a team.
Could you imagine that though? I mean, a guy from that era playing in this, kind of ticky tack type, man, he'd be a beast. Like who would be a sea of Klecko jerseys in the stands? That's it. No, there'd be no other fans. Everybody would be a Klecko fan.
In his prime, not the Ronnie Lott the Jets got, who's still okay.
Yeah, not our Ronnie Lott.
Not our Ronnie Lott, but the San Francisco 49ers Ronnie Lott. Sure, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
And look, as a defensive back myself, Ronnie Lott was one of my favorite players all time. But when he got here, that was not the guy. He was not the guy that I remember. So, kind of like, when we got Ed Reed, we're getting these guys at the tail end of their careers. And there's still some glory, maybe a player or two here and there. And I remember Ronnie popping a couple of folks. But I would want to have the prime versions of these guys in particular. And I think she's been throwing some names, Chris Jenkins and Sean Ellis and all of them too. Yeah,
I know.
Which I say that sounds great, but we got a pretty good defensive line going on already here. I feel like there's other positions that some of the guys thrown out, Mawai, Mangold. I could see that because a lot of people are down on Connor McGovern. But you know what? When you surround McGovern, if McGovern is the weak link on your offensive line, you got a pretty good offensive line. When you're surrounded by those two guards, AVT and Laken Tomlinson. Yeah, I don't think I think you're barely going to notice Connor McGovern on the field this year.
Yeah. To that point, adding Nick Mangold to this line makes us a top 2.
Oh my God.
3 offensive line in the league, and it might not be 2 or 3. Right? It might not
be.
The one thing you have to acknowledge is if you added a Nick Mangold or a Mawai is not just the way they played their position, but how much better they would make
everyone else
around them. Like AVT. Like how much would AVT benefit if he had Mawai, next or Mangold?
Pro Bowl. Adding a guy like that makes those guys Pro Bowl players.
Yeah. Turn off the salary cap option, please, and that. Please.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
But for me, Mo Lewis. To me, I would put in Mo Lewis because he could force turnovers. He could sack the quarterback and he could stop the run. To me that would be the way that I would want to go. But you guys are coming up with a lot of good ideas too. So
this is hysterical.
Bailey Zappi. I forgot they drafted that kid.
I think he was a finalist in the National Spelling Bee Championship this past year.
Man, that's weird. That's weird. He's a small guy though. Like I don't know. We'll see.
All right. All right, but yeah, linebacker, yeah, I would say don't be surprised if they put Sherwood on the pup list to start the season. Just that's my thought there. Okay, that just leaves us with the secondary. So let's talk about cornerback. So we would be keeping 7 cornerbacks. We would be keeping DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, Michael Carter II, Bryce Hall, Brandon Eccles, Justin Hardy, and Javelin Guidry. I'll let you guys go with this one. Yeah.
Javelin Guidry does not shock me. I got to hear who doesn't make it, but it doesn't shock me. I think that Javelin Guidry is very underappreciated. I know MC Squared is like a dream for us. He was like a top 10 slot corner his first rookie year and has all this potential to be a top 5
early.
But Guidry was really solid. He was okay as a slot corner. He was able to step in on the boundary when needed. He had that versatility. If Carter II gets hurt, he could be that guy that plays the slot. Maybe people will argue that Bryce Hall could be used that way. I don't know, but it doesn't shock me, and it wouldn't shock me if Guidry makes this roster.
I just never want to see him on Stephon Diggs ever.
Right. Like,
Guidry is good at very few things, but he's okay at that part of his game. That's how I would say Guidry. Guidry is a very limited cornerback. Just you have to appreciate what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are. Sadly, his weaknesses, in my opinion, outweigh the strengths. So, but you could keep him. To me, it really comes down. Reed, Gardner, Carter, Eccles, Hall, and Hardy are locks. Yeah. I don't think any of them are going anywhere. The one guy you can make an argument for is Isaiah Dunn.
Yeah,
I feel like it's Dunn.
I forgot about Dunn.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I forgot about Dunn. Yeah, as much as I just kind of don't want him back really right now. But Guidry is an interesting question because I think he showed enough for us to feel confident that he can back up Michael Carter too. And the speed, the locker room stuff. I mean, I know we haven't gotten to the safeties just quite yet, but there's a role to be played for a guy like that, right? And I think Dunn is too much of a liability on the outside, and I think Guidry has shown that he can be effective in this slot much more than he would be on the outside. I think for that specific reason alone, I would say maybe Guidry over one of the other guys, just because we don't really have a guy that we know is going to be able to step in and follow up a guy like Michael Carter, who, like you said, was playing at a really high level last season and then tailed off a little bit towards the end. So this is the top end is really where our most important, kind of pieces are. And I'm good with that.
All right. Yeah, to me, my hope would be whoever doesn't make the roster between Guidry and Dunn, you could sneak them through to the practice squad. I think that would be.
I think both of them would make it. I think both of them would make it to the practice squad.
It is possible. Okay, I agree, Iowa. You can't. You're not cutting Hardy. Besides, he actually makes. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he's actually one of the higher paid players on the team right now. Before free agency, it's pretty crazy. Okay, so that leaves us with safety.
Okay,
I think if there's so here's who they kept: Jordan Whitehead, LaMarcus Joyner, Ashton Davis. That's it. Can you think of who I left out and I did not mention?
Pinnock?
Yes.
Yeah.
He has Jason Pinnock not making the team. That, to me, is the most egregious cut of all. To leave out Pinnock. It is.
Wow.
That is downright amazing. As good as he was during the spring, I'm expecting him to be the starter by the midway point of the season. I'm amazed that you would only keep 3 safeties, and this is basically acting like Ashton Davis is the second coming of Ronnie Lott if you are only keeping a third safety.
That guy's a scrub.
I have so little confidence in Ashton Davis.
No,
to me, if there's one position here that bothers me, it's safety. The question is, you add Pinnock in, you have to take somebody out. So what are you taking away from? Are you now down to 6 cornerbacks? Are you willing to roll the dice with 6? Because you gotta get rid. We only have 5 linebackers.
Yeah.
And with where we are on defense, we think 9 defensive linemen. We're talking about all the guys that we want to keep. We got to take away from somewhere to keep the 4th safety. So it's quite the conundrum that we're suddenly faced with here, isn't it?
Just for you, wow.
That's Jets forever for you. That's Jets forever.
I'm sorry. There's no
he
way.
thinks Alex Kessman is the best kicker in Jets history too.
Yeah, no, not at all. Look,
We know the deal.
I just got to say this because I watched. I spent some time watching film on Pinnock last season. I think Pinnock is serviceable. I'm not going to say he's good because what I saw from him shows a lot of inexperience. It did show a lot of kind of luck, a little dumb luck on some of the plays because I think he was out of position a lot. I think his inexperience is just, was too difficult to overcome, especially in the rookie season. Maybe coming up, I can see where he'd probably be a lot better and athletically. He's not on the same level that Ashton Davis is athletically. Ashton Davis is a ridiculous athlete. He's just not a good football player. He's not a good safety. And I think that is where the difference is. Do you get enamored by the speed? Do you get enamored by the fact that he can run, all the way across the field at an angle? Are you kind of just pissed off that the angle they took was off and that he missed the tackle even after doing all of that running? That's part of why it is that I kind of don't like Ashton Davis. But
I can't figure out what he does well, besides like run in space without pads on. He's a great hurgler, but in terms of taking angles, making tackles, intercepting, he doesn't do any of those things well. Joe Douglas took a chance on athletic ability, and it hasn't paid off by any stretch up to this point.
You think a year after we started, 9 different safeties, that we're only going to start this year with 3, and one of them hasn't played safety in 3 seasons and missed all last year with an injury. You think that we're only going to have 3 safeties on the roster? I don't think so. I think we at minimum have to have 4.
Yeah. Is this why Dick Cimini's kind of work is as shady as it is, as kind of disrespected as it is? I think the reason why we have 3 safeties on the roster is because he ran out of room.
Yeah, he ran out of room, and he was literally probably making slashes, saying, "How can I make this happen? I'll take this safety away." But he's not. But that's not realistic. At the end of the day, you have to look at your work and say, "There's no way this team that lost that had safeties going down every week is going to come in with 3 safeties on their roster. There's no way. It's insanity. There's no way. One of them one of them missed the entire year, and he was playing cornerback for 2 years. I mean, LaMarcus Joyner is too much of a question mark to have just Ashton Davis as the backup safety. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, it bothered me a little. It bothered me that he only kept 3 tight ends. Then when I saw he only kept 3 safeties, it was like, you got to be kidding me right now.
Good. It's difficult to take some of this stuff seriously, right? How long have you been right? How long have you been following Steve? And this is
decades.
He's mailing it in right now, and I don't know. I kind of expected it in certain respects, and I mean, I'm not gonna say you got it all wrong because I think some of it is really. We say it's a no-brainer because Joe Douglas has established it that way. This is what it is that he wanted. This is what we're getting. 3 safeties. That is probably one of the dumbest things I've heard yet.
That's why I saved it for last. I couldn't finish it off with special teams. I had to finish that. I knew where I was going to end it. It had to be with safety because I thought that was the hottest take that he had. Yeah, the most controversial take that he had. But again, we want a 4 tight end, we want a 4 safety, but then you got to take something off the roster. And so that's why for me, you have to go with 8 offensive linemen instead of the 9 that he projected. But then you start to think, where else can you take away? Do you go to 6 cornerbacks? Do you go down to 4 linebackers? Do you go down to 2 quarterbacks or even just 3 running backs?
Yeah.
Would you do 3 running backs? 3 running backs plus Vaughn. It's not the worst idea in the world if you want to stash Bam Knight on the practice squad.
Yeah, we
Like,
can
you
do
got to
that.
take away if you're going to add on. Yeah.
I think the addition of Brees Hall makes it a lot more likely that we can keep a healthy Michael Carter in the backfield. But I also think that Brees getting the workhorse load is really putting him in jeopardy of us having to pull a guy up from the practice squad in Bam Night because he gets hurt. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope they stick. I mean, with their regular normal game plan of the three-headed monster kind of thing with kind of like a split between Brees Hall and Michael Carter. Go with the hot hand. If one's playing really well that particular week, you go with the hot hand, and then you get 5 to 8 carries to Coleman or whoever your number 3 running back is, and you really keep these guys fresh, and you save their bodies because we want Carter and Hall we want them to last for a lot of years. We don't want to see one of those stories of a running back going 3-4 years and their body breaks down on them.
Thanks. All right.
Well said. Well, yep, that's the 53-man roster projected as of the end of June. So let's see how it changes into the beginning of training camp and then as the exhibition season goes on. It's going to be very interesting to see how this depth chart changes. It's going to be very interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say he had some controversial things. Obviously, the safety, the 3 safeties is probably one of the hardest for me to swallow. Believe it or not. But overall, I'm not going to say it's there could be a lot worse. Like it could have been a lot worse when I decided to do when you told me, Adam, that you had the 50. When you sent me the text to do this. I don't want to take away credit. It was your idea to do this, but I thought it could be worse. So I definitely think that I think that while there's some questionable things that he did, I'm not saying I haven't tried to do it, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's easy. To when you only have 53 and there's good guys to cut and everything. I don't know how I would have handled that safety situation, but I would have taken it from somewhere though. I could not leave 3 safeties on the 53.
It's almost as if you go into the position saying, you know what, we got safety, let's go ahead and address it. You got 3 guys, and you're looking at the rest of your list saying, this can't be it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd rather go with 5 wide receivers and not 6, and have 4 safeties.
It's I get to see your point there. By the way, so no undrafted free agents made the roster for the first time in I think 3 or 4 years. Not one undrafted free agent, which I thought was interesting. Usually one makes it. So I thought that was a little bit surprising. I gotta show this one. So Jacob, I would like to know why you feel that way about Tevin Coleman. Just because he's not 21 years old. The guy does not stink, okay? just saying. I gave you a little bit of attention on that, so come on.
The only issue with Coleman is he's had trouble staying on the field, but other than that, I think they love him because he's very experienced in the system.
Facts.
Oh boy, Christy's bringing the heat right. I've never seen Christy before, but I like it. She's bringing the heat right now.
Yeah, Christy's on her job tonight, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna offend a few people here. We know Mo's answer: Zach Wilson, Zach Wilson, Zach Wilson, Zach Wilson, Zach Wilson. Those are his 5 overrated Jets of all time.
You know what? Every time Spotty's on the show, we just have more of a female presence whenever Spotty's on the show.
Yes,
you notice that? It's just like I can't.
Let me just say Christy's AVI picture. Yeah, she's a cute.
I was gonna say she looks beautiful. She looks beautiful. I'm thinking maybe this is J. Cole, but the questions are too intelligent for that level.
Top 5 overrated Jets of all time.
Wow,
I don't want to do this. I would do like 3, but 5.
This is a hard one because I would think that the bad ones are just bad, but the good ones, what is it? Are they like pizza? Like they're not really that good, but they're never really bad, right?
problem I have is that this is the kind of thing that loses you subscribers because you offend. I'm afraid to offend someone.
You piss somebody off with this one.
Maybe we'll
Look, all right,
just
I'll
one.
I'll give a stab at one because wow, see now this is hard because
We're going to offend people so bad. This is not going to be good.
Yeah, this is gonna be hard. Overrated of all time, man.
You're very correct on that. I'll give you one.
Man.
I'll give you one. All right, Pat Leahy.
Yeah.
Very overrated kicker. He made a lot of kicks, but he never made long kicks. He missed quite a few clutch kicks as well. But if you go back to his history, I don't think he made more than one or two 50-yard field goals in his entire Jets career. He was a compiler, as Francesa would say. He's a compiler. So if I had to go with one that came into mind for me was Pat Leahy as an overrated Jet.
Okay, I'm going to steal mine before Kevin could go.
Yeah, because I got one.
Nate Shepard.
I don't know. I don't know what I use him just because I don't think he's any good. But you know, let me not say it. I'm not gonna say he's not any good. But you know what? Mine would be Mo Wilkerson. I had really high hopes for Mo Wilkerson, and then he kind of and let me preface this by saying I feel like we should have paid Snacks instead of Mo anyway. I'm gonna die on that hill, and that's just where it is that you're gonna find me lying. Just I don't think Mo warranted what it is that we gave him, and then when we actually saw what he devolved into, by then it was too late. There were still people who were kind of thinking that he was part of what our transitioning to being a good team was supposed to be. He just wasn't it.
I will say this, if I could respond to that. Wilkerson was a Jet for 7 years. He had 2 years that I would say were top years.
Yeah, most definitely.
Right. He was second team All-Pro twice. He made a Pro Bowl. And he had 10.5 sacks 1 year, 12 sacks in that infamous 2015 season. But what a lot of people forget is in that last game against Buffalo, I believe it was, he broke his leg. And he was never the same after that. That's when they paid him. It was the timing of the contract that made no sense. And he was never the same player. Ooh. He went to the Packers 2 years later, played 3 games, was never heard from again. I think he even had a DUI.
Yeah.
Just Fan United, I'm actually curious. Who overrates Kyle Wilson?
Yeah,
Kyle Wilson may be my least favorite draft pick the Jets have ever had, ever.
Absolute bust. Abject failure.
Oh, he was
abject failure. That kid.
He was almost as bad as Vernon Golston. He could tackle a little bit, but he was like allergic to an interception.
Got a bad taste in my mouth.
He would never turn around.
That? Yeah, I saw a name up right before we were talking about Kyle Wilson. And I'm drawing a blank on it now. Can you know what? This is your show. Let me not dictate what goes on your show. Just there's no such thing as Fitzmagic. There's no such damn thing as Fitzmagic.
You can say what
see, we're talking about guys who are like decent draft picks or draft pick busts, and I feel like you can't overrate them because
D. Milner was not.
This isn't overrated.
We never.
I think we're getting lost a little bit in that, but I think I just saw a question: Sheldon or Mo? I think we expected more out of Mo than we expected out of Sheldon, and that's what makes his fall as difficult it was for me. I thought Sheldon was going to be good. I just kind of thought Sheldon was going to be what he is now, a decent kind of serviceable guy. Right after that rookie season, I was like, man, he showed up. Is he going to be able to continue? And he really kind of wasn't. And I think that we did see some intelligent roster, turning when we got rid of those guys, and even getting rid of Leonard Williams going to the Giants, even though he had a decent year, a decent couple of seasons with them, I still think it was a good idea for us to move on from him. And that's why these guys, they seem more like overrated than they actually just, they were bust coming in. I mean, like,
I'm gonna give you a name. Yeah.
I just want to say, honestly, so far, the best one I saw so far for truly an overrated player was from the lady who asked the question. She said Jamal Adams, and that's right on target. He was overrated.
Jamal balled for us, though.
I
Jamal
can't agree.
balled for
He
us.
did.
He
was a
balled for us.
He was better for us than he was in Seattle. If you can't base this off how he played in
Yeah,
Seattle.
and we can't base it off. Yeah, we can't base it on being angry at him for how it is that he left. Also, right?
But don't. I'm not saying he didn't play really, really well and balled for us, but we had him as this. When he was traded, they said we're trading a Hall of Famer. But people were acting like we were trading a Hall of Famer, and it was like,
he won games for us. Like that Giants game, he controlled the game.
I'm not mad at that.
He owned that game.
You know what?
I don't know. He couldn't catch.
This is the most difficult when we talk about Jamal now all of a sudden, because Jamal, I mean, come on now, all pro, first team all pro. Yeah,
I'm not saying he wasn't good, but he was looked upon as a guy that was worth trading everything that Seattle traded for him and paying him $17.5 million. And that didn't pan out. So clearly they had him overrated from his play on the Jets.
If the expectation is, and please excuse me, I'll just be quick. If the expectation is that you're going to trade for a guy that has been in the league 3 years, has had all-pro consideration for the second and third season, and a Pro Bowl consideration as a rookie, even though, obviously we know that if you're trying to trade for that, you might want to give up 2 first-round draft picks.
It just didn't work out for them, I guess. But I still like the cleverness of the answer because of what happened to him. But you're right; he balled when he was here. You can't deny that.
He absolutely did.
That's the reason why it hurts so much, right? Because he did ball. And then he fell off.
The other thing that can upset you is who the quarterbacks that they passed on to draft Jamal Adams. That you can be upset by that, and I would understand it. But I'll give you one other name. I haven't seen anybody else mention this one in the chat. So tell me what you think of this one. Bart Scott.
Wow.
Not because of what he meant to the team, but because of how he actually played as a linebacker.
He wasn't really that good, yeah.
He was okay. Now, I'll give you some stats. So he played 4 years. I'm just going to give you his just some stats from 2009 to 2012. Let's see. Solo tackles, 67, 59, 54, 36.
We're averaging?
That's each year. So 2009, 67 solo tackles. 2010, he had 59. 2011, he had 54. 2012, he had 36. And he played like entire seasons too. He wasn't missing games due to injuries. Sacks, he went, let's see, 1, 4.5, 2.5. Got a little better there. Quarterback hits, he went 11, 9, 8, and 5. So he was an okay linebacker, but I think it was his attitude and his, I hate to use this word, but sort of like he was a cheerleader. He was more of that spiritual leader for the team, like where he was like the rah-rah guy and brought people together. But in terms of what he actually did on the field, he was fine. But I think we remember him as a better player than what he actually was.
That I agree with. And I mean, again, because of the can't wait moment and all of that, he has a place in fan lore, right? He has a place where he has, a certain level of respect. And I can't necessarily say that the level of respect he is given is based upon how well he played. Phenomenal point. He really didn't play well. I mean, like he's a decent, serviceable kind of a linebacker. And I guess playing for us though, it's different, right? This is the Jets we're talking about.
What's Bart Scott's signature play as a Jet? I can't think of one. Yeah, can't wait. I can't think of one.
Can't wait. That's
tackle. I can't think of one.
The roughing in the passer that almost cost us the playoff game against San Diego.
A starting linebacker with 50 tackles. You're a scrub. Come on now.
No. Anybody say Jonathan Vilma just yet? Hell no. I'm not. No. I like Vilma a lot. I was a Vilma fan.
This is like you just give wrong answers only, right?
Wrong answers only, right?
Right. If you say Vilma, that's a wrong answer. That cat was a monster. I was so disappointed when he went to New Orleans.
Yeah. Tannenbaum got schooled in that trade, I believe. So, all right. Since we asked who's the most overrated, who y'all think's the most underrated Jet of all time? And I think
Wow.
Christy immediately said Kerry Rhodes. I think she's responding to underrated.
That's a good one. And he was. He was.
James Hasty.
I don't know. I got a list on this one. This one we can go for days on this one. Bilal Powell, John Hall, Nick.
I've always felt Jericho Cotchery, but now that's like the chic answer is Jericho.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jericho, I don't think he's underrated. I think he's rated where he's supposed to be. Everybody loves him and should. Right? If you're saying that you don't like Jericho Cotchery, like what were you a fan during that time? Yeah. Were you a fan during the time that he was? Yeah. Did you watch any of the games during that time? That guy was our guy. I love Jericho Cotchery.
Yeah, I feel like I got to go back to the 80s for some of these guys. Marvin Powell, Kyle Clifton. These are the types of guys.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I'll let you say the defensive back's name. I'll just let you say it.
Well, we could say Joe Klecko because he's not in the Hall of Fame. So that means
okay.
horribly underrated.
I was giving you a layup to say James Hasty to give your boy a little love.
No, I said James Hasty before. I threw it out.
Okay.
But you know what? Joe Klecko is maybe not by Jets fans, but by the NFL extremely underrated because it's a travesty he's not in the Hall of Fame.
It is.
He's all pro in three different positions on the defensive line. It's ridiculous.
This one's interesting because to me, the Jet fans, if anything, we give Corbett almost even a little bit too much love. I feel like we love him too much. Now the NFL, the average NFL fan, they don't give Corbett a whole lot of respect.
Yeah.
So it depends if you're talking about Jet fans or NFL fans.
Corbett's on the wall. He's on the wall here now, right? He's on the wall in the No,
he was also on the list of top wide receivers, NFL wide receivers. I think it was like 50 something. So, which is pretty respectful. Like he was very happy about it and surprised by it. So,
I'll give you to me the most underrated player that the Jets found in a long time is Brandon Moore. Rick,
you know what?
Nick, get all the love, all of it. Brandon Moore gets remembered for one freaking play, just like Mo Lewis does, and it is an absolute shame. Because Brandon Moore converted from being a defensive lineman to an offensive lineman, and he was here for like a decade plus. Wow. I love that. That guy is awesome. It's a shame he doesn't get more credit and more respect than he does. Brandon Moore is my guy for underrated.
Definitely. All right. Look, great questions. I mean, the folks in the chat tonight are really doing your jobs. Thank you.
We're trying to do ours somewhat well.
Yeah, keeping us on our toes about all of these. Yeah, no question.
Yeah, we're getting some Abdul Salam love. I've seen him mentioned.
Lavernius.
Yep.
Lavernius, that was my guy, man. I love Lavernius goals.
How much did it upset you when he went to the Redskins? Oh my gosh!
Look, when
we tried replacing him with Curtis Conway. My God!
Same thing with Santana Moss. When Santana Moss left, that was difficult for me. Difficult for me.
Some of the guys that we try to replace these wide receivers with, Justin McCarron's, Curtis Conway. I mean, goodness.
Yeah, no, that'd be a no. All right, guys, y'all got to excuse me. I have a deadline. I still got some stuff I got to finish up in here before I fall asleep. Please excuse me. It was awesome. This was so much fun. Everybody in the comments, everybody throwing out questions. Thank you for keeping it real. Thank you for making it pop tonight. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much for being here. Remember, guys, Weapons Hot, Weapons After Dark.
Yes.
They got some new new times in case you lost track of it.
Yes, we are Monday at 7 to 8:30 using the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You can please download the app. They're still wanting us to do that. Obviously, the Weapons Hot uncensored now is what it's going to be. It's going to be our YouTube. CJ and I are still kind of working out the logistics on that because we want to do it a little different. We've got some logos and we got some other things that we're putting together. That's going to be coming soon. Stay tuned. You can holler at me, Spotty Blackman, at Twitter. Please come and get with your boy. I love having these conversations about the Jets. New York Jets fan 0523 is CJ D. Simone at the Weapons Hot page. You can follow us there. Get with us, man. I'm telling you right now, it's great content. it's a hell of a time to be a Jets fan. And we look forward to being able to interact with everybody and just really watching this team grow as we kind of expect that they should. So thank you for giving me the opportunity tonight, Jeremy. Appreciate that.
Anytime.
Watch okay, my guy. It's my pleasure, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Everybody else, deuces.
We'll see you down the road.
Take care, buddy.
All right. Good night, man.
What a great guest. He's always awesome.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was a fun conversation. So we'd like to thank Rich Cimini for providing us with some good content, and the chat for taking it from there.
Yeah. Look, Cimini, at least he came out with it. He was the first one to willing to put it out there. He certainly made himself a big enough figure, whether you positive or negative, that when he does something like that and puts himself out there, it made for an interesting show to hear his take. He's interviewing these guys. He's in the locker rooms. You can't discount that. So some of it might be his imagination, but some of it might actually come from a good place where he's hearing and seeing coaches' reactions. You never know. But the one thing that's going to throw it off is that we're not done picking up players. So there'll be a little bit of a change to these predictions that even I can't blame him. He can't foresee it. If we pick up Quan Alexander, that changes something a little bit. If we pick up Riley Reef, that changes something a little bit. So we have to see how all that pans out anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Even after the second preseason game, there's still going to be a lot of changes. Once the cuts happen, Joe's going to be scouring that waiver wire. Yep. So, yeah, in the past, I've had years where I've written down every player that the Jets have, sorted by position. I cross names off as they get cut. And after a little while, I realized, why am I even doing this? Because they just keep wheeling and dealing players, and all of a sudden, new guys come on, and the practice squad happens, and it's all these players who weren't even on the roster to begin with half the time. Like I said, half the roster is usually composed of practice squad players from other teams anyway. So it's going to be, and then with the new practice squad rules over the course of the season, it's just going to keep changing. So, you want to make sure you have certain guys, but you have to watch for players who emerge over the course of the preseason and over training camp, and just hope that there's an opportunity for them to get playing time and that their position or their place on the depth chart isn't already solidified. You just hope that there's an opportunity for these guys to get playing time if they earn it.
Yeah. Hey, so before we wrap up, I want to thank some people. Jets Fan United, not only here tonight supporting, he's always here, and he's always a big help to me behind the scenes. Has done a lot for me with his site, jetsfansunited.com. If you go there, he has a nice forum. It's awesome, and it's a good collective place where you can see where all the Jets YouTube providers are in one spot. It's very cool. He's doing some really big stuff, and again, it's a great forum to talk Jets. John Hepburn came in at the end here, so thanks for being here. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. Dakota, we may have said hello when you came in, but I want to make sure I shouted you out. I didn't get to call everybody because not everybody was here early enough. Modine, thanks for your participation. You've been here a lot lately supporting. I appreciate it. Avlab Studios, thank you so much for coming by. I appreciate it. Jack Corbet, thanks for being here. Mess, as always. Thank you, my friend. Christy Marie with some great questions and great contributions. Thank you so much. Ryan Jett, I appreciate you being here, my friend. Cameron, always a pleasure to have you here, my friends. We appreciate you. Grandizer, the Miami Dolphin fan, but also a great supporter of the channel and a good friend of mine. So we appreciate you, my friend. Wow, we got a lot of people to thank. Jacob Finnegan, thanks for coming by. Some Guy, thanks for coming by. I appreciate you. Look at that. I don't miss anyone. I try not to miss anyone. I know.
Jennifer, thanks for coming by earlier.
PCR, right. PCR, thank you for being here, buddy. And Jennifer, she hasn't chatted in a while. She might not be here, but thanks for being here before. I win Jets fam. I'm even going to thank you, even though I don't have any wine in my mailbox. And let's see, who else did I leave?
You got to drink those Iowa wines within a couple of days. I got to tell you, after about 5-6 days, it's just not the same.
Yeah, that's true. Jets forever. Good to see you, my guy. And let's see, did I get everybody yet?
Mark, thanks for joining us tonight. You have a good night, my fellow Jersey boy.
Oh,
Good to
Mark
see you.
Reese, my buddy, Mark Reese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might get to see
Good
him
dude.
when I get out to a Jets game. I'm definitely gonna connect with him. I'm still trying to find out if he's gonna go to the game, the opener. But Mark Reese, good friend, great teacher.
It's nice to know that Dakota and Mo have become best friends tonight. That's always a good thing to see.
Gitmo Bob, how can we forget? Gitmo Bob, who if he left to go to bed, he'll probably catch the end of the show tomorrow.
Big
So
Jets,
we
are
didn't
you
forget about
weird
you,
or
but-
something? Big Jet, are you writing like a novel in the chat?
Oh,
Come on, man. We
Who
put you in
is?
time out earlier. Big Jets is yeah.
What
Come
do
on.
you want to tell him, and how do you know talking to her
I'm
left?
putting this in time. I put you in
Is that,
timeout
is
once
that, is
already.
that a
It's
bot?
like
Is that a bot?
I don't know. I mean, the fact that it's Big Jets, I wouldn't think that it's a bot, but
Uh-huh.
he was doing this earlier on. I put in timeout, went away. Now he's like coming back and basically writing with these like I don't know.
I don't know.
I wonder if Big Jets is you know who. I don't know, but
Thanks for helping my numbers anyway. But and if there's anybody else that I forgot, my apologies. I just want to try to name everybody because I appreciate everybody that participates in the chat. I also want to shout out everybody that doesn't participate in the chat but listens and watches the show, because there are a bunch that are like that don't have interest in the chat, and I want to make sure I appreciate them as well. Thanks everybody. Chiefs in the Clutch stopped by, Buffalo stopped by as well, and my brother stopped by. So thanks to all you. Thanks, and Kelly Wilson. I think I said hello to you early on though.
yes,
When we first
yeah,
started.
early on.
Yes. So, and I also appreciate that people were here for such a long time. Thanks for that too. And of course, if you like the show tonight and you want to see other content, be sure if you haven't already to subscribe to the channel, and also liking the video also helps too. Watsuki99, tell them about your site, man. Oh, and Sean McAteer, my good friend Sean with the great beards. Sorry, buddy, I almost forgot you.
I called him earlier the King of Beards. Yeah,
King of Beards.
Yeah, the King of Beards. So yeah, my channel is just like it says in the chat, NY Sports Wicker Media. I've been doing quite a few videos recently. I'm trying to put several out a week. My most recent video was I watched Flight again Monday night into Tuesday morning, and I wrote down a couple of things that you may not have noticed the first time watching the series. So just a few extra observations. I try to dig a little bit deeper as opposed to just, the draft pick reactions and stuff like that. So just pointed a couple other things out about Flight 2022, and watch for more content because it'll be coming soon. So get your New York sports fix.
So Jack was asking, am I going to stream all the Jet games live this year? My plan, if he'll have me, we haven't discussed it officially, is to continue to stream with Green Bean on Jets Nation. We did the last, I think, 10, 11 games of the season together. It just kind of organically happened. I love streaming the game with him. So I think that's most likely going to happen, that you can catch me during the Jet games unless I'm at the game. Sorry, you bring that back. Okay. Unless I'm at the games, I will probably and most likely be streaming with Green Bean at Jets Nation. I also will be doing the other game, the other time zone. Like if we do the Jets of the early game. So the late game, like the second half of the late game, me and my brother do a red zone party. We cover like the 3 or 4 games that are going on. And we just kind of like hang out then. And also after the Jets game, about 10 minutes after the end of the Jets game, I'll be at Buffalo Jets Fan Channel, and we'll be doing, starting week 2 of the season, we'll be doing a post-game Jet show. Are you going to be on that too?
I am. As a matter of fact, I'll be doing my club duties. So, hey, Dark. Yeah, I'll be doing my... Yeah, because, I have to leave my local club, so I watch the games with them. But yeah, we get everything settled. What I'll probably wind up doing is bringing my computer with me. I'll hook it up and we'll join. Hopefully the background noise at the restaurant won't be too bad. I think it should be okay. So we'll see how that works. I think we might do it for the first preseason game. We haven't finalized it, but that first game against Atlanta is a Monday night game, and it's live on ESPN. So maybe we'll try it after that first game. We'll see how it goes. But man, I can't wait to do this. I am really, really excited to do this this post game crew stuff. So
yeah. I'm happy to collab with the Let's Talk Jets guys. Christy, I'm just trying to build up my channel. I don't have the nerve. I don't have the nerve to ask people. Like, I don't know when you feel big enough to approach people and think they're going to be interested to work with you. But Buffalo Jets fans getting pretty darn big, and he's working with me. And Green Bean always has me. So maybe it's not gonna. Maybe it's. I need to like step up and start doing it. I'm always happy to collaborate with anyone. So if the people from Let's Talk Jets want to collaborate, I'll go on their channel. They can come on our channel. Happy to work with them. If you know them, just throw my name in them. But when I break 1,000 and start getting up there in subs and everything, and I feel a little bit better and bigger, then I'll feel more confident approaching these other channels and saying, "Hey, let's work together." I got lucky. I started with some relationships with like Green Bean and some of them, but also like I haven't even asked O'Leary to come on ever. I haven't asked Ryan to come on ever. I'm kind of just waiting on that. But I will be on. I'm going to be on his channel, or he'll be on mine, or both. Jets Today, John from Jets Today. I know that we're definitely going to collaborate this summer. So. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. So there'll be lots of opportunities to see us. You'll have to get used to my big bald head. If you're surfing YouTube, you won't be able to get away from me. So
we can't get away from you no matter how hard we try. Even with the restraining orders that we put on you, we still can't get away from you.
I'll take that as a tremendous compliment, because there are a lot of amazing Jets YouTube content providers. So if there are people out there that would put me second on the list of content providers that are out there, I will take that every day of the week and every day of the month. Thank you. I appreciate it. Anyway, everybody have a great night. Might see us again on Friday night for Friday Night Hangout. We'll announce whether it's going to be on this channel or Proud New York Jets fan. And take care, everybody. Good night. Thanks for staying up. We appreciate you.
We'll see you tomorrow night on Green Bean Show too, Thursday.
That's right. We'll be on Green Bean Show tomorrow night. Make sure you go to Green Bean Jets fan. We'll be there for the Thursday thick of it. We might not be up front, but we'll definitely be in the back helping run the show.
We're always working, and I'll have some trivia ready. So I'll bring in the Jets trivia as I always do.
And I'll leave you some highlights of the wacky Wednesday shows from the past. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
One of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today, you can't get rid of him.
Right, it's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.